Thank you for making it this far into part 3 of episode 31 of the Psychotherapist Podcast. We thank you so much for sticking it out through the subpar audio for this episode. And we wrap this session up with how the worst is yet to come. How the last 2 presidents have sabotaged our economy. I get into some tips on a video I saw about urban combat survival and what kind of water not to drink. And we wrap up. This is a professional podcast. We wrap up with discussions on crowd stalking and the American Stasi. This is the Psychotherapist Podcast. You gotta be a psycho for making it this far, but we love you for it. Peace out.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
I do believe this shit's going to hit the fan. And it's just starting.
Yeah.
And it started on day one when Joe Biden decided he would close the Keystone Pipeline and then put in all these regulations that Donald Trump had taken out and let the economy flow. And he is a puppet, obviously.
Yeah.
And who's pulling the strings?
The thing is, I would argue it started before Biden. I think it started with COVID. And, however you feel about Trump, there are a good amount of Republicans, who will say, like, hey, man, he turned on the money printer, too. He approved Operation Warp Speed, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. But some people really are mad at him over it. And, So, I mean, I think that's when the, I spoke about earlier, the everything shortage began,
Yeah.
So I'm curious if, Trump is, on a proliferally within the orbit of, these Davos groups, but he's kind of doing his own thing. I would just love to be a fly on the wall of, Donald Trump's, regular life, But he has all kinds of secret meetings we have no idea about.
Exactly. His responses to that hearing they held this week, the indictment hearing, I call it, with people like the woman...
Liz Cheney?
Liz Cheney, yeah. His overview of that was so rational and sensible and non-emotional that it was brilliant.
Who, Trump's?
Yeah, his comments. I didn't see all of it.
Okay.
What about your daughter Ivanka Trump? He goes, Ivanka had checked out 8 months before all this happened. So I really don't. It doesn't matter what Ivanka may have done or not done.
Yeah.
She had mentally checked out.
Yeah. No, I really, really, really doubt that Trump and Ivanka and Jared, all of them were sitting around their Volcano Lair base and saying how are we going to plot our insurrection, guys?
Exactly.
Give me a break. Yeah.
But anyway,
you don't want to be caught with your pants down. So, I mean, to answer your... Well, for me, it's a pretty simple thing. Most of my day-to-day, I'm not going to think about it, but when I get a chance, I'm just going to stock up on a lot of food. That's about all you can do, Yeah.
Survivalist, basically.
It's kind of wild to me. I didn't even really think of it this way until now, but I think that's a real sign of decadence of, too prosperous a society where the idea of stocking up on food is considered irrational.
Right.
You know what I mean? You look at all of fucking history and not everyone had fucking Postmates ready to get them McDonald's, bro. I think Americans have no concept of I can't think of any really specific examples now, but I think even if you go to a country like Ireland, you'll just occasionally shit will not be on the shelf and you can't just always get what you want right away. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
We've been spoiled.
And
this guy, just to finish this up a little bit, he would do things like we would go up to our friend's place in New Hampshire, which was on a beautiful lake. It probably wasn't polluted. We swam in it and everything else, and they would go out sometimes and get water to boil for tea and coffee. I would always use the bottled water. But this guy he would never drink like the bottled water stuff. He wanted to use his purification tablets, that he got to survive radiation and things like that. He was just that much of a survivalist. So he would just go out and dip a cup in the lake and bring it inside and drop one of these tablets in it. And that would be his drink, his water.
Can I share one little random fun fact that I think the one person who listens to this podcast and learns this like 10 years from now will be like, glad I learned that. So I saw a video a while ago about sort of urban survivalist combat. And one, like, a lot of it was just kind of like obvious stuff and like, make sure you got enough water, have a filter for it, blah, blah, blah. But like one thing that I think was really like good, because I probably would have fallen for this if I hadn't seen this video, is that if you see like streams of water running down buildings or like whatever, how you see, like on a rainy day, you can see little waterfalls on buildings. Do not drink that shit. There's all kinds of dirt on the rooftops and on the walls. Birds and all kind of animals shit on those rooftops, and it's running through don't fall for it, because I would have if I didn't know that. If I was just going through a zombie apocalypse, free water.
Right, but I mean, one way to address, release some of your anxiety about all of this would be to do things like stock up a little bit.
Yeah.
People say you're crazy. Well, you know what? You're eating your anxiety about it.
You know what? I'd rather be crazy and full than sane and starving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd be crazy not to.
Yeah. I think you're only crazy if you're stocking up on, like, I don't know, tanks or something crazy. Like, because to me, I'm like, I know a lot of people will disagree, but I'm like, at this point, guns for everyone.
Right.
I mean, not literally, but like, goddamn, bro, like.
Well, self-protection will be an issue.
Yeah, no, I think and we don't have time to get into it. And obviously, there's a lot of valid gun laws, but there's also a lot of unreasonable ones that just empower criminals.
Yeah.
And takes power away from regular, people who can't defend themselves. But we don't got time for that. So, is there anything you want to leave off on, sir?
No, there's a lot of ground. I don't know how you're going to break this up and break it down, but there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, it was a for an impromptu, no pre-agenda session. I think we put out a pretty good episode.
I think there's a lot of information there that people could, if they were to listen to this, there have to be at least 3 to 5 things that they learned. That they could use practically in their lives.
Well, that's what we aim for, and we hope so, folks.
Would you agree?
I think so.
And I would give it the stamp of Tibetan approval.
Nice.
Okay?
All right, man.
Next week is the week I cannot meet on Saturday at our regular time.
Okay.
Okay?
I have
I'm not sure. We're going to talk later. Why don't we do a midweek, little shorter one, midweek check-in, okay?
All right, sounds good, boss.
I'm not sure which night I'll have the time, but we'll do that, and then we'll figure out the session time for the weekend, okay?
Okay. And that, just one last thing, that person that you mentioned before who feeds you a lot of information, if you ever feel like sending the podcast to that person, I got no problem with it.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
And I have her permission to send articles because she's been loves the publicity, has been exposed in a lot of newspapers and things. I would call it exposure, I would call it something, well, yeah, it's exposure, but she wants it.
Gotcha.
She wants to get her message out to as many people as possible. So she has given me blanket permission to forward anything she sends to me to any people I feel would benefit from it. So I will send you some of her stuff, okay?
All right, sounds interesting, man.
And some of it will blow your mind.
Can't wait.
Because it's just so much on target. You say, wow, how the hell did she, I don't know if you've thought about the stalking stuff,
I'm sorry, the what stuff?
Crowd stalking and things like that.
What do you mean exactly by crowd stalking? Can you give me a 10-second?
Certain people would be identified, by the quote underground, the bad people, whoever they are, as people who they want to keep an eye on or exterminate or get rid of.
A kind of Stasi sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I kind of have like a high standard of proof, but I think while something like that, like just in my opinion, while I don't think something like that exists at scale, I think it exists.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Then I'm going to send you some of the stuff she sends me, okay?
All right. Sounds good, man. So, guess we're signing off now.
Peace out. Good luck on your test. Let me know how you do, okay?
All right, will do, Chief. Have a great weekend, and
Yes.
just like to say, you look good, you sound good. I'm liking your energy, bro. Loving it.
Thank you, man. I'll keep it up. We got to keep the telehealth going, and that's okay. We're doing okay with this. And I just wanted to know if you listened to Carmelita,
Not yet. It's on the
Warren
list.
Zevon version. It's been in my ear all weekend. When I played, after we talked, I played a few versions, and I go, this is the one right here, and I sent it to you. So.
All right, man. On the list.
3 minutes.
Got you.
Okay.
All right. Peace out, bro.
Right on, man. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.